Hey guys, what is up? We are back for the first time in I think it's about 10 months since we last did a 7 round mock draft for the Seahawks. In terms of off season, I did a couple throughout the season. Um, and we are back. Super Bowl just ended a couple days ago. I'm going to be doing a 7 round mock for the Seahawks every single Wednesday leading up to the draft process. Um, and we're going to be doing it just like we did last year. I have two tabs open. I mean, you guys can't see the difference between them, but I promise you, I'm switching between tabs right now. Um, I'm going to be doing one mock that I think it's what I want to do, and then another mock more predictive. Let me get my mic facing up here. I have my computer chair is on the fritz. So right now I'm using just like a chair for my dining room, and so I'm lifted way up. So my mic is way down here. Um, so it might be, I don't know if my mic is a little quiet. But I'm looking to get a new chair pretty soon. Um, I am also going to be doing. I'm going to try to get it out next week if possible. I'm going to be doing a 7 round mock draft for all 32 teams. That's something I've never done before. I think the most I've done is 3 rounds for all 32 teams. So I'm going to try to get that out. I'm going to try to do 3 or 4 of those leading up to the draft. Maybe once a month is probably the range, because then you got one now, get my initial reactions and takes on prospects, and then one in like mid-March when there have been a good amount of free agent signings, and we can get the combine and stuff like that, and then one right before the draft, so that we know where all the prospects lie, and most of the free agency signings. So I think 3 is probably the number we'll be going for. I will link in this video in the description. I will link. I have, just like last year, I have a big board with my rankings on all the players. Right now, I don't have offensive line done on there yet. I'm still working through a lot of film with O-line and projecting exactly where I think they're going to go. And so that's where they'll fall on my big board. But I do have, for most positions, I do have some guys on there. It's definitely not a fleshed out list, but if you were here last year, you know that I have well over 600 prospects that I end up putting on my big board. So it's definitely a work in progress, and it does change leading up all the way to the draft process. So this first mock here, this is going to be starting off with what I would do and what I think is great. And we're going to go into these mocks as the team currently sits. Okay, we haven't extended Geno. We haven't extended DK. We haven't cut Tyler Lockett, but we're going to project that happens because I think the likelihood is. But we haven't re-signed Ernest Jones, so for right now, I am going to go about this mock with the openness that there is a chance we don't re-sign Ernest Jones. I think a Geno and DK extension is inevitable, but Ernest Jones being re-signed is a bit more up in the air for me. So linebacker is not out of the realm of possibility in the first round or day 2. So let's get into this mock here. I do love the idea of trading down and maybe getting a late day 2 or a late round 2 pick or a third, because I think the offensive line depth in this class, it's not a top heavy draft for sure. It's not a good first round. I think the back half of this first round really kind of meshes with the day 2 prospects. And especially the O-line depth, I think. Sorry about that, guys. Took a little break. My dogs were barking, so I took a break to get them to calm down. I feel like it wouldn't be a video without my dogs barking and interrupting me. But as I was saying, the depth in O-line, I think the disparity between like the 20s, someone you could get there, and someone in the 40s or 50s, there's not too much of a difference. And so I think acquiring that extra second round pick, a later second round pick, would be really, really great, because we do have a lot of needs. Someone like a Kenneth Grant at 18 is usually someone I'm going to take 10 out of 10 times at 18. I really love him. And so having to pass on O-line in the first for just some players that I've really fallen in love with is tough. So getting an extra second or third round pick does kind of help deal with that a little bit. Let's get into this draft here. So we see who's on the board. PFF, I will say, they're not entirely accurate. They have Jalen Walker at 52 on their board, it just makes no sense to me. I think Jalen Walker is probably a top 10 prospect on a lot of people's boards. And if you think Jalen Walker is falling out of the first round, you're going to be left with your jaw wide open on draft night. So since this is my first mock, I'm actually going to kind of go through the prospects a little bit more. Wide receiver in the first round, it's not something we can do, in my opinion. You look at the scheme that we're adopting from Clint Kubiak. He loves to run 21 and 12 personnel. He loves his tight ends. He loves his running backs on the field. He does not run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. We have DK. They've openly said multiple times they love DK. They're keeping him around. Same with Geno. And we have DK. We have JSN. It is going to be tough with only 2 wide receiver sets to get JSN in that slot role that he's so good in. But only 2 wide receiver sets. So I think taking a wide receiver in days 1 and 2, it's not essential. And it's not something we necessarily need unless we were going to trade DK, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think for the weapons on this offense, wide receiver can kind of fall to it can fall to day 3 unless you get someone on the board in, say, the second or third round like Jaden Higgins. I think Jaden Higgins is the perfect fit for us, so I would love him if we're able to get him, but especially someone like Emeka, and we look at the other wide receivers on the board, like slot guys are not going to work. We have JSN, so slot guys like Emeka, Xavier Restrepo, Tez Johnson, they're not going to work for us. And this is a really good wide receiver class, but a lot of the wide receivers in the top of the class are kind of thrive in the slot. Like Luther Burden too, he went off the board up here to the Cowboys. Ashton Genty to the Colts is very interesting. Kelvin Banks to the Cardinals is incredibly interesting because they have Paris Johnson. So Evan Brown is a free agent, so I could see him moving into left guard. I think that could honestly be a really good move for them if Kelvin Banks does slip to 16, which I don't think happens. So we look at the other options on the board. I love Ben Morrison. I don't know how this team is going to feel about taking a cornerback in the first round unless we do trade Reek Woolen, which is going to be an option that I am going to explore throughout a couple of these mocks. Some options I've thought about trading Reek Woolen, absolutely. I think some of the pieces on our back end, like a Mike Morris, I could see if there's a team that's interested in him, that I could see us trading him to maybe the Steelers for like a seventh round pick swap, because Mike Morris has shown he's not really someone we could even put out there for 10 snaps a game and rely on. But a cornerback would be great. Spoon is our guy, and we're going to have to pay him next offseason. So I'm not sure we want to sign someone big in free agency. I think getting a guy on a rookie deal is great. And if we trade Reek, I think we can keep Spoon. We re-sign Josh Jobe, and then we could draft a cornerback. Looking at the cornerbacks here, my guy is Azariah Thomas. I think it's actually I listened to him, or I listened to a couple of his teammates in an interview. I believe it's pronounced Azariah Thomas. It's not Azariah. It's Azariah Thomas. But he is my guy. I have him, which is crazy to a lot of people. I have him as my number one cornerback in this class. I have him ahead of Will Johnson and Travis Hunter, which is crazy, I know. But I really love him that much. I mean, he's a huge player on my board, and I think he fits exactly what Mike would be looking for in our defense. I love him so much. Look at other guys. Siobhan Revel. I'm not a huge fan of him with the injury. I think I have seen like some mocks where Siobhan Revel goes before Ben Morrison, which makes no sense to me because Siobhan Revel, you're kind of banking on upside. He had one good season and then had a major injury, and you're kind of betting on him. Whereas Ben Morrison, he's going to be amazing, and he slips because of the injury. But Siobhan Revel, you don't know. He's a question mark. You're just banking on upside, and he has the injury. I don't think Siobhan Revel is a first rounder in my book, and I don't think he's someone that I want on the Seahawks at all. I don't want to deal with that type of injury. I think Ben Morrison, it was a one-time thing. I'm pretty confident Ben Morrison is going to be fine unless he tests out horribly throughout the combine process. Then we'll probably hear something about it. He'll start to slip down boards. Jahdae Barron I really like, but not for us. I think at the NFL level he would thrive in the slot. And we have Spoon. He's not someone that I would want to take. Trey Amos, I do like him a lot. I don't know how well he fits our system. I think my favorite fit for him is the Steelers. I take him to the Steelers a lot in the first round. I really like him there. Darian Porter is a guy that I do like. I think he's got great size, 6'4". I know PFF probably isn't accurate with the there go the dogs. PFF isn't always accurate with the sizing, but we'll find out more at the combine. I can't remember his measurements off the top of my head, but back, let's look at edge. I think Mykel Williams was next on PFF's board. Mykel Williams, I do like him a lot. I think he's a really good fit for us. A lot of people don't like him. You got to bank on, you're not banking on production. He doesn't really have any. For him, you're banking on the tools. He has a really great pass rush bag. He's really good against the run, and I love his size. Mykel is kind of like Trayvon Walker in a sense. I think they both came out of Georgia, but they don't have the production necessarily, but they got the traits and the tools, and it's just an upside pick. And you're banking on the potential. I think he could be a good pick for the Seahawks. And I doubt he's here at 18. I seriously doubt it. Same with Walter Nolan. I think he probably goes top 10 when it's all said and done. So I'm not even going to consider that. Plus, we already have 2-3 techs in Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams. If we're going to take defensive interior, let it be 340-pound Kenneth Grant. Absolute mauler. I love him. He's unbelievable. He's my favorite defensive interior in this class. I have him over Mason Graham. And I think he's so good. I think he should go top 5. I think Kenneth Grant is an unbelievable prospect, and I would love to land him at 18. Armand Membu, I like him a lot. I think he could be really good, but I don't know how I feel about him moving inside to left guard. I think right guard he could be really good. But I don't think he's going to stay at tackle. I don't think that's something he can do at the NFL level. Moving into right guard could be good. I just don't know how I feel about him at left guard, but it is something, I've obviously considered. Gray Zabel is a big riser. I think he was the best. He was the best offensive lineman at the Senior Bowl. He was unbelievable. And I think Gray Zabel at left guard for us I think he could be a top 5 left guard in the league. I think Gray Zabel, I typically don't like going after guys from small schools in the first round. But, I mean, he showed at the Senior Bowl that the level of competition does not matter. He will whoop anybody. So I really love Gray Zabel here. And he's someone that you absolutely could kick out to tackle if Abe Lucas is not healthy, can't stay healthy, and he does get hurt next year. You have Gray Zabel you could move out to right tackle and put, say, Christian Haynes at left guard, try him out there. So I really like Gray Zabel here. I'm going to talk about only a couple more guys. Tyleik Williams, I think he could play nose tackle, but he's not my favorite pick. Colston Loveland I like, but I don't think I'd want to take him unless it's back of the first. I think Tyler Warren is my guy. Kind of play that fullback role for Clint Kubiak. I think Jihad Campbell is like my guy. I love Jihad Campbell so much. He was number 1 in his high school class at edge, so he's got a really deep pass rush bag. I think he could kind of. I hate to compare Jihad Campbell to Micah Parsons because he's not Micah Parsons. But I mean, people compare Jalen Walker to Micah Parsons, and that's more accurate. Jihad Campbell is not Micah Parsons, but he's someone. He's 245, 250, but he plays like he's 220. He is incredibly fast. When we got Ernest Jones, I was really hoping for the pass rush that he had on the Rams, and we just never got that from Ernest Jones. This is something with Jihad we absolutely would be able to get. He could play inside linebacker next to Tyrese Knight, and then we know we're set for the next 3 years at least at inside linebacker with those two guys. Maybe get a day 3 linebacker too, and you are set. Jihad could, I think, kind of split snaps as inside linebacker and on the edge. I think if you take Jihad Campbell and you don't play him on the edge, that's kind of a waste of his potential and talent. So Jihad Campbell, I think, would be a perfect Swiss Army knife for Mike Macdonald. And I think if I were to guess, I think Jihad Campbell is going to be a top 5 player on Mike Macdonald's board. I really love this guy, and it's hard for me not to take him at 18 every single time he's on the board because I think he's a great fit for the Buccaneers too. And if we don't take him here, even if we trade back a little bit, I think Buccaneers would absolutely snipe him. Another guy, Tyler Booker. I've heard that the NFL is a lot higher on him than the consensus, and I'm fine with that. Tyler Booker, I think, could be a really high-end left guard in this league, and left guard is exactly what we need. It's our biggest need. So Tyler Booker, I absolutely wouldn't be upset at it. He did have kind of a down year. I was kind of expecting him. I think everyone was expecting Tyler Booker to take that next step in terms of progression. He didn't necessarily do that, but I think the upside is there, and I think he does have a pretty high floor. I think if you take him, he's gonna be an average level starter at worst, I think. So I don't think you can go wrong with Tyler Booker at 18. I think that's a fine pick. I'm gonna look at. I think one more player here, and it's a sleeper pick. We would trade back in the late 20s. Nick Emanwari. Nick Emanwari is my top safety in this draft. I have him over Malachi Starks. I think he's unbelievable. I don't want to compare him to Kyle Hamilton, but I think he is. Like, he is unbelievable. If Mike could get his Kyle Hamilton here, I know we have Julian Love and Kobe Bryant played really great, but Kobe only has 1 year left on his deal. And you don't know, it was half a season. Could have been a fluke. I don't think it was. But, if Kobe goes out there and next year and doesn't play at the same level, you could have this guy. Nick Emanwari is unbelievable. I know he is more of that strong safety role that Julian Love has now. But I think he could move all over the field. I think putting him deep is really great. You could put him up in the box. He's really great against the run. I love what Nick Emanwari brings to the table. And he's a sleeper pick in kind of the late first round. So all this talking I'm doing, Kenneth Grant is on the board. That is appetizing. Gray Zabel too. I am going to look at the trades here. So we have the Broncos at 20, Packers at 23, Texans at 25, Ravens, Commanders, Chiefs. I don't think I'm ever going to trade out of the first round because that doesn't really happen in the NFL. If somebody trades from the second into the first, they usually trade to like 31, 28. They're not going to trade from the second round to 18. I think the likelihood is very low. I think like the max that we'd trade back is like 27, maybe 29. I don't see us trading back to the 30s. Absolutely not. I think the most likely trade back is to like 20 or 21 and just acquire a fourth. I think a really good one would be with the Texans. You can acquire pick 89. PFF and PFN, I will point out, they still have us with pick 194, which I believe we traded to the Jaguars for Roy Robertson Harris. We do have 185 from the Bears, which we got for Darrell Taylor. But 194 was traded to the Jaguars. This is something that hasn't been updated. If you look on Tankathon, their draft order does account for 194 being gone, but PFF and PFN don't. So watch out for that. I usually, if I do a trade, which you'll see, if I do a trade in a mock, I throw in 194 just to get it out of here because I know we don't have that pick. So picking up a late third is really appealing, but right now with the hype, all the hype around him, I am going to go with Gray Zabel. I think he's an unbelievable prospect, and I love him to death. So I am actually going to, before I forget, I am going to trade the Jaguars 194 just so they have it, just so I don't accidentally spend it down the line. Gray Zabel here at 18. I think it's a money pick, and I absolutely love that. So 50, we're sitting here at 50. We're going to be realistic. Jalen Walker is not going to be on the board. Jaden Higgins is, and that's a really good pick, but also Nick Emanwari, I don't believe can be on the board. Xavier Watts might be. I think PFF is about right with their placement on him. Donovan Jackson likely won't be here, I don't think. Darius Alexander, man, what a rise for him. I had him. He was my favorite day 3 player. I loved him. I loved taking him into the 4th. And I thought he was a huge sleeper, and then look what happened, man. Wyatt Milam has been slipping down a lot of boards. He was like a late first rounder, kind of like a Graham Barton type, I'd say, but he's fallen down a lot of boards. I think mainly just because there have been so many other players that have just balled out and they're just shooting their way up. And Jonah Savaiania. Jonah Savaiania is a really good left guard. If you put him at tackle, he's absolute ass. But at left guard, he showed that he can do it, and he's really good at it. But any other position, I don't think you're going to get anything out of him. And A.Z. Thomas is not going to be here. I'm not even going to think about that. So looking at this, who's on the board? Xavier Watts is fun. He's not the style of safety that I want. I think, Nick Emanwari is the guy that I want. Kevin Winston is fun. But, I don't know how I feel about taking him this early and just kind of banking on that. Sebastian Castro is fun too. I don't think I'd take him this early. Let's look at cornerback. I do like Maxwell Hairston a lot. Mello Dotson is fun. Noel Williams, I think they have him ranked too low. Noel Williams could be a fringe second rounder. I think Noel Williams really is going to boost his stock. He won't go this late. Zy Alexander, I like him. I don't know how I feel about him in a corner. I think I like him a lot more at safety. I think I don't think he has necessarily the speed that I'd want to play boundary corner. I think I like him more as a safety. Jacob Parrish is really fun. He's a top 100 prospect on my board. Edge here. I don't love the edges that are on here. I think they have Braden Swinson way too low. But Braden Swinson, I don't know what happened to him because I was really looking forward to seeing him at the Senior Bowl, and then he just withdrew from the Senior Bowl and didn't say why. So that's a little worrying. Maybe some character concerns there. I don't know. Jordan Birch is someone I looked at before the season started, last draft prospect. Last. Oh my, am I having a stroke? Last draft process. There we go. I got it out. Last draft process. After the Seahawks draft, I did a lot of 2025 mock drafts, and Jordan Birch was one of my favorite guys to take in the 4th or 5th round. I really loved him, and he really boosts his stock a ton. I love what he did for himself. It's great. But I don't know if there's anyone here. I mean, Josiah Stewart is possible with the Michigan connection, but he doesn't really have the size for a Mike McDonald edge, in my opinion. Looking at the interior, Derek Harmon, I don't love. We need a nose tackle. He's not that. Alfred Collins could be a nose tackle, but taking him this early, I don't love it. Same with Deone Walker. Deone Walker is a nose tackle for sure, but he just doesn't seem athletic to me. I mean, if you look at his gut, he's got a donut gut. And that is a little bit worrying for me. He's really heavy, and I don't. It looks like it's more fat than muscle. So that's someone I kind of want to stay away from. We could look at linebacker. Jalen Walker's not going to be here. Carson Schwessinger is good. You're kind of just banking on 1 year of him starting and being really good. I don't know about anyone else. Jay Higgins probably bumps himself up to the 3rd round. I do like Jay Higgins a lot. I am going to try to be realistic in these mocks for sure. I think tight end Harold Fannin is really, really good. And he might honestly be my pick here. Harold Fannin would be a dynamite pick. Jaden Higgins is really awesome too. So for me, it really is coming down to Jaden Higgins or Harold Fannin. And you look at it, Noah Fant's probably going to get cut. Pharaoh Brown is gone. So on our roster, we have A.J. Barner and maybe Brady Russell if we want to retain him, but he is also an exclusive rights free agent, I believe. Jaden Higgins, while he would be great, we have 2 really good receivers on the roster, and Kubiak doesn't really use 3 receivers. He really uses tight ends. So I am going to take Harold Fannin here at 50. I think this is great value, and I think it's a dynamite pick. I think he would be unbelievable. So I am going to flip over here. We have Gray Zabel. I just kicked my desk. We have Gray Zabel out at left guard. Harold Fannin at tight end. I think Josiah Stewart still on the board is really cool. But again, I don't think he necessarily has the size. Lathan Ransom would be a cool pick. I am going to look on the interior and on the edge and see what we got here. I think Quandarius Robinson, honestly, would be a really good pick. I think he's absolutely someone that that Mike could take. I mean, he's got the size for it, and I think he's a really good pass rusher. Ashton Gelote fell a lot. I don't know what happened to Gelote, but he really fell. Just didn't have what we wanted him to. Kaimon Rucker I do like, but this is too early for me to take him. I like him in the 4th. I'm not taking him this early. I want to take a look at cornerback. Mello Dotson is someone I really like. Denzel Burke I like too, but probably in the 4th. But I do like Mello Dotson a lot. Let's look. I am curious to see what we have for trades, because trading back could be an option. Maybe trying to move up into the 5th or into the 4th. Whoa, that my neck just cracked like 14 times. So 91 and 113. We're not going to trade with a division rival. So with the Ravens, I think with the Ravens, you could get a late 4th. I think that could absolutely happen. All right. So I think this is good. I'll do 135. I think that's a more accurate value. I think even this might be a little rich. We'll go 127 and we'll throw them 236. Just because I think just a 4th would be pretty rich to move back 9 spots in the late 3rd. So we're gonna get 127 and we're gonna throw them 236 in exchange. And we move back here and let's see who we got on the board. Andrew Mukuba, I really like him. If we can't get Imanwari in the 1st or 2nd, Andrew Mukuba is my guy. I am absolutely going to take him here. This is no question to me. But we will go over some options. Looking at QB, Jalen Milroe, I don't like him. I mean, his hands are like half of my hands. He's a tight end, essentially. He's what Joe Milton was coming out, just doesn't have hands. I think Jalen Milroe could kind of take that Taysom Hill role that Clint Kubiak would want. I don't know. I just don't like him. If we can get him in like the 5th, sure. But Will Howard, I really love this guy. Will Howard is really good. And I'd love for him to sit behind Geno. My issue right now is that all signs are pointing towards a major Geno extension. If we have him for another 3 years, we should not be taking a quarterback in the first 2 days. I think we could do that next draft, which is a better QB class, and it has my guy Cade Klubnik. So I'm thinking no, and we're going to roll with Andrew Mukuba. We're sitting here at pick 127. I don't like Jackson Dart. I don't think has the tools to be in the NFL. Billy Bowman, I like him, but he's 5'9", so he's not someone that I want in my defense, really. I think this is a really good spot to look at wide receiver. Pat Bryant. I think Ricky White is like my ideal fit here, but he's someone I'd take in the 5th. I would take him in the 4th, absolutely. I have a 3rd round grade on Ricky White. He is going to be falling a little bit. But Pat Bryant in the late 4th, I think, is unbelievable value for that wide receiver 3. I'm going to take him. I absolutely love Pat Bryant, and being able to get him here is great. We have gone pretty offense heavy here. So if we could lean more towards defense, that would be great. I'm going to look at cornerback. Denzel Burke is still on the board, so that is something I'm looking at. We haven't addressed linebacker or D-line. So look here, Kobe King, I think he's fine, but my guy here at this pick is Cody Simon. I really like Cody Simon. He does have a little bit of a missed tackle problem, but I mean, a lot of these guys do in day 3. Jay Higgins, like I said before, I don't think he's going to be here. I think he's a 3rd round prospect. I think the likelihood of him being in the last pick in the 4th round, I don't think it can happen. Cody Simon, I think it would be a really dynamite pick here. Let's look at the D-line and see what we have. Tyler Barron. I saw someone take Tyler Barron in the 2nd round the other day, and that was crazy to me. Jamari Caldwell, you know what? I think I'm going to take him here. Jamari Caldwell, he is not going to be at 200 when the draft comes around. I think Jamari Caldwell is likely going to be a 3rd rounder. But for now, I think Jamari Caldwell at 136 is unbelievable. He would come in and he would be our nose tackle. So I'm going to take Jamari Caldwell. I don't even have to think about that. And now we're sitting here at 173. Kyle McCord. I love Kyle McCord, man. I love Kyle McCord. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in this class under pressure. And knowing our O-line, that's great. He's someone that, you're not expecting him to develop into a starter, but he's someone that could come on here, come into this team, into this organization. We get him on a cheap rookie deal for 4 years, whereas we only have Howell for 1 more year, and we saw Howell. Of course, it was against the Packers. He was thrown in there with Ryan Grubb calling plays and not helping him at all. So we don't, but I think at this point, our coaches should know exactly what they have in Sam Howell. So if they feel that Kyle McCord is better, do it. And we have been looking at Will Howard and Kyle McCord and a few other quarterbacks in the 3rd round range. Kyle McCord, I think, is a great pick. I think Sam Howell, we could end up maybe trading him. I don't know who would trade for him. But if we can trade him, I'd love to do that. And let's see what else we got here. Linebacker. Slim pickings here. Danny Stutzman, I think he's fine, but he's just not. He's kind of the Tommy Eichenberg of this year's draft. Like last year, Tommy Eichenberg, I liked him a lot, but he's like really good run defender, can't move. He has tree trunks for legs that he's stuck in the ground. Jalen Conyers would be actually really fun. I like this guy a lot. He's a really good blocking tight end. I think he would be a really good tight end 3. I think we kind of have to take 2 tight ends in this class unless we're going to sign one in free agency. Because, we have A.J. Barner and nobody else. And I don't think Brady Russell is rosterable at this point. He's kind of a fullback, so. Here, Jalen Conyers is an option, but Kyle McCord, I talked myself into it, despite the last pick saying saying that we can take a quarterback in the next draft. But I just think that's unbelievable value. And look at this. The board fell in a way where Jalen Conyers is sitting on the board here at 185. I think that's amazing. That's just, I don't even have to talk about that. That is amazing value. And now, final pick, Rondé Gadsden is really good too. He's kind of just a wide receiver that can block really well. Hunter Wohler, I really like Hunter Wohler. I think he's probably the best special teamer in this class, honestly. He's really, really good. And I really like him. So Hunter Wohler, if we can get him, that would be great. We already took a safety. We didn't address linebacker or edge, and we have one pick left. So I think you kind of have to, BPA is great, and Hunter Wohler probably is BPA here for me at this point, but you also have to look into, hey, we need depth. And we didn't take an edge, a cornerback, or a linebacker. So here, Johnny Walker, I love Johnny Walker. I really do. I think getting him in the late 6 would be unbelievable. I don't know if that's a possible pick. Fidel Diggs, I'm not really impressed with what I saw from him. Let's look at linebacker. I think these guys, it's the same value as guys you can get in UDFA. Cornerback, Fentrell, I do like Fentrell a lot. In day 3 here, and I think this would be a good pick. Jabbar Muhammad is going to be a top 100 player. He should not be this low. I am going to end up taking Johnny Walker just because of the value for edge here. If we can get Johnny Walker at 212, I think that's unbelievable value. And that is just absolutely unbelievable. Thank you. I got some awards. I'm going to download this image. All right. And then now we will go to what I think we'll do. This is what I wanted to do. Now we'll go into what I think we'll do. Into the draft. This one I'm going to kind of speed it up because I did talk about the prospects a lot. Ooh, look at how the board has fallen here. Now, if I was here and I was doing this and Josh Simmons fell to me at 18, I'm not passing on him. Josh Simmons was a top 5 prospect in this class before getting injured, and I think he's the best O-line prospect in this class. So that's unbelievable there. Ashton Genty on the board, though. Chargers trying to trade up for Ashton Genty ahead of the Broncos. I don't think you can turn this down. And honestly, they wouldn't give up 54, but I think they'd be willing to overpay for this, and they would give you 86. I think they would absolutely be willing to overpay for this. I'm going to throw 194, of course, and then I might even move up a little bit from 236 to 215. I absolutely think they'd be willing to overpay to jump the Broncos and get Ashton Genty at 18. That would be unbelievable. So I'm going to pull the trigger on that. And then look how the board fell. We have Kenneth Grant, which is great value, but I talked about it before. Amazing Swiss Army knife for Mike McDonald. I think Jihad Campbell is the perfect fit, especially with trading down and getting a bit more draft capital. Now let's look at O-line here. Okay, so they still have players listed at tackle. Ariante Ursary, I like him. I think he could stay at tackle. It's possible. Donovan Jackson, I don't think would be here. If he is, that would be great. I talked about him before. Jonah Savaiania, not good at tackle at all. No tackle flexibility. But really good at guard. I really liked what I saw. Let's look on the board here at edge. I'm not seeing anyone that is nobody's jumping out to me like that. I really think that we would take him here. I think. I mean, I have seen Donovan Jackson slipping a good amount. I think it's possible he could be available here. But I would more. I don't even think we'd take Wyatt Milam, honestly, if he is here. I hope we would take Wyatt Milam over Jonas Avaiania. I don't know if we would, honestly. I mean, I think in the NFL, I think Jonah is probably slightly fits more to Clint's scheme in terms of the zone blocking ability. And he said like he wants really tough, strong guys. I think he is looking for like these big maulers. Not maulers. He's looking for these big guys that can move, and I think Jonas Avaiania. I think Wyatt Milam would be best at center. I think he is kind of that Graham Barton type. Jonas Avaiania, I think, is kind of a true left guard. I'm going to take him here at 50. I think that's what we would do if he is there on the board. And then how the board has fallen, we're here at 82. And I'm going to look if Will Howard is on the board. We've already looked at him. I think we could like him a lot. I'm going to take him. I don't even have to look at who's on the board. I think Will Howard is the pick we're going to make. Now sitting here at 86, Jeffrey Bassa, he's fine. I'm not a huge fan of him. Harold Fannin is not going to be here. Deontay Walker, I could see slipping, and if he somehow falls to 86, I don't think this team is going to pass on him. I would pass on him. I don't think this team does. We need a nose tackle. I think he would fill that role. So that's what I think we're going to do there. Now we're on the board at 136. Let's see here. I think a tight end is probably in play. I like Jackson Hawes a lot. I really do. I like Jackson Hawes a lot. Jackson Hawes is like the only guy in this tight end in this class that's not an H-back, you know. Jake Brenningstool is really good though. I think he seems like a pick that the Seahawks would make, and he's gonna be my pick here. All right, on the board here at 173, Emory Jones is not gonna fall this far. If he does, because he really does have like serious injury concerns, I don't see us passing on him. He's going to move inside to guard, but he could also provide flexibility at tackle if Abe does go down. And in round 5, the upside is absolutely worth it. I don't think we would pass on that tackle there. All right. Now I think Mike is going to want to address the cornerback. And Jalen Smith, I really like him. I really like Jalen Smith. I really do like Jalen Smith. And Jason Marshall, I'm a big fan of him. But Jalen Smith, ooh, I love this guy. I was not expecting Jalen Smith to be available here at 185. I don't think he will be. I think he'll go 4th, early 5th range. But Jalen Smith, I like him a lot better than Nehemiah Pritchett, and we took him in essentially the 4th. So I'm going to take Jalen Smith here, and this isn't even a question to me. And I think we're looping back to the Hunter Wohler. I think this team would fall in love with Hunter Wohler because he is, I think, the best special teamer in this class. He's unbelievable. I'm going to take him there. And then one pick left, 215. Let's see here. This is kind of just BPA. Dante Thornton. I'm actually haven't looked into any Dante Thornton at all. Let's see. I think wide receiver could be in play here. Absolutely. Kyron Lacey shouldn't be drafted. All right. So we didn't take an edge. I mean, we could look at edge. I don't think we're gonna, jump at any of those guys. Wide receiver, Theo Wees, I think could be a guy that we take. I do like Theo Wees a good amount, and so in the 6, I think that's fine to take a shot on him there. All right, and that is gonna do it. I almost hit new mock draft. That would have killed me if we didn't save that. Oh my god. Okay, so looking at what I would do, Gray Zabel fills in at left guard, is an immediate starter. Also provides flexibility at right tackle if Abe gets hurt. Harold Fannin, tight end 1. I think that's great value there. He's an unbelievable player. We traded back, gave up a 7th for a 4th. And we got Andrew Makuba, kind of that third safety rotational piece. And I think he'd be a really good guy to have on the field for 3 safety sets. Pat Bryant at 127. So essentially, let's see who they took at 236. I usually like to do this, see who they took with the pick. So 236, they took Xavier Truss. You know what? That's a good pick for them. I think that's a great value pick for them. Okay, so they got Xavier Truss, and who did they trade up for? They traded up for Anthony Belton, so they got 2 tackles. They double-dipped at tackle with those picks. So we traded Anthony Belton and Xavier Truss for Andrew Makuba and Pat Bryant. I'm happy with that. Pat Bryant, wide receiver 3, easily on this team. We wouldn't use him a ton. He would get 400, maybe 500 yards. And that's being generous probably because I think we're going to throw to our running backs and tight ends a lot more than we will our wide receiver 3. But, with Kubiak's probably going to get a head coaching job next year or the year after, and then we can have this guy for whoever comes in and probably does run 3 wide receivers a lot more often. Jamari Caldwell is he's a nose tackle. And I really love him. He's probably going to go late day 2. I think the likelihood of him being here at 136 is very, very low. But if he is, you absolutely have to take a swing on him. Kyle McCord at 173. It's best player available. That's really great value, and he could be an immediate upgrade at the backup QB position, in my opinion, with a little bit of upside. Jalen Conyers, tight end 3, really good blocking tight end, and honestly, with Fannin, Conyers on 4-year rookie deals, Barner on a 3-year rookie deal, we don't have to worry about the tight end position for at least another 3 years. And even after 3 years, you have Fannin and Conyers still there. You could probably just pick up a UDFA tight end and not have to worry if Barner does walk. Speaking of walk, we got Johnny Walker Jr. Really good edge here. Probably won't be there at 212. This is just best player available. Didn't take an edge, so just a guy to come in, maybe fight his way into that 4th edge role because Nwosu is probably going to get cut, but he could stay on the team. I could see that, but right now we have Nwosu, Boye, and Derek Hall. Draymond Jones is going to get cut. So then Johnny Walker would take that 4th edge spot. Potentially, he could be a practice squad. I don't know how that would work, who would kind of fight for that 4th edge. I don't see him being much more than that, though. And then over here to the what I think John and Mike would do. PFF really didn't like this. What would they grade this? Bottom 25, and this is bottom 25. Sweet, bottom 25. Well, because PFF's rankings are all over the place. Savai Nia at 73, Jihad Campbell at 41 is crazy. I don't think it's accurate at all. You just kind of gotta roll with what you think the board is. Okay, so let's actually analyze this trade. So 2286, 215, which is Jihad, Deontay Walker, and Theo Wees, and they got 194 and 236. All right. So they traded up for Ashton Genty, of course, like I said. And then they had 194 and 236. 194 got them Jay Higgins. That's an unbelievable pick, man. That is an unbelievable pick. And Elijah Alston. I haven't looked into him at all, so I can't give you a firm opinion on that pick. But I'd say that's a good trade. I mean, getting Jay Higgins there in the 6 that's the value. So we got Jihad Campbell, linebacker 1, and can also play some snaps on the edge, which I really like. I love Jihad Campbell. He's my linebacker 1 over Jalen Walker, who probably will play edge. But Jonas Avainia comes in at left guard. I don't think he's as good as Gray Zabel, of course. He's not going to be, an immediate, above average starter at left guard. But I think he'll come in. I think we can move Christian Haynes over to left guard and kind of battle for that starting spot. Will Howard, backup QB. Sam Howell, see ya, bud. See ya, pal. I like Will Howard. I love Will Howard. I'll even go that far. So I think he could be a really good backup QB with some franchise QB upside. Deone Walker is nose tackle for us. He's that guy. Like I said, I don't personally love him, but I think we could end up liking him. Here go my dogs at the end of the video. I'm not gonna cut this out because it's the end of the video. Jake Brenningstool, tight end out of Clemson. He'd come in here. I think he'd take the role behind Barner. So we'd probably need to pick someone up in free agency to also get 3 tight ends. Because I don't want Barner to be tight end 1. It could happen, but I don't necessarily want to put that weight on him. But Jake Brenningstool comes in, tight end 3. I like that. Emory Jones Jr., this is an absolute steal. He'll probably go late day 2 or early day 3, but if he's here in the 5th, this is unbelievable value, and you absolutely take it. He's going to move inside to guard. You can put him at tackle if you need that flexibility, but with the injury, he is going to fall a bit. He was a first rounder before this season. Jalen Smith, absolute dynamite pick. I love this guy. I think he has really high upside as a starter, honestly. Hunter Wohler, kind of a depth piece, but a really good special teamer. I don't know if he'll be much on defense, but as a special teamer, I think this guy is really, really good. And then Theo Wees Jr., wide receiver 3. Like I said in the last mock, he's not going to be used. Wide receiver 3 is not going to be used a ton. I think he could battle for it with Cody White, and I'd be perfectly fine with that. So, all right, guys, that is going to do it for this mock draft 1.0 predictive versus ideal. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.